Magium, an interactive tale. The adage that states, honesty is the best policy, is as old as time itself. It would appear you have chosen to follow that path. Please be sure to vote, using the card icon in the upper right-hand corner. Why did you join this tournament, Barry? Darren asks me again. I decide to tell him the truth. Achievement unlocked. Honesty is the best policy. I'm after the same thing as you, Darren, I tell him. I'm after the Magium. It's been my dream ever since I was little to become a mage, and the Magium can grant me that wish. Come on, Barry. You're going to have to make up a better lie than that if you want me to believe you. He stops and looks me straight in the eye. By the gods! You're being serious. Barry, I commend your bravery and determination, but you do realize you can't win this entire tournament just by bluffing, don't you? Of course I know that. That's not the only ace I have up my sleeve. But what about you? They say you're one of the strongest mages in the world. So how does one as strong as you get bested so easily by someone named Cutthroat Dave? Oh, that. He's sounding embarrassed. You see, Barry, I may be powerful, but that doesn't mean I don't have weaknesses. It turns out one of those weaknesses is that I never really managed to master the shield spell properly. The shield spell? The one that casts an invisible protective layer around yourself? But isn't that one of the first spells any mage learns? It is, but it's not like I can't cast it at all. I can defend from magic just fine. It's normal weapons that I have a problem with. This is why I wear heavy armor. This is why I use a sword and shield. I first started using them because I couldn't use the shield spell properly. But soon, I started tailoring my magic around them, and my very fighting style. I found a master that would teach me to fight with weapons, and I used my magic to enchant them. Then, after every fight, I'd just use my white magic to heal my wounds. Like so. He demonstrates it by raising his hands in the air and making a white light appear all around him. As the light shines, his wounds start closing, and the blood fades away. The Cutthroat's knives had a life of their own, and there were many of them attacking me simultaneously. If I had a proper shield spell to defend against them, defeating him would have been child's play. But defending against all those knives with a shield and sword alone would have been impossible regardless of my combat skill. All armors have their weaknesses. All he had to do was go for the armor joints repeatedly until he wore me out. Why are you telling me all of this? Shouldn't you be at least a bit worried about revealing your greatest weakness to someone you just met? Hey, you just saved my life, so you can't be that bad, right? Pardon me for interrupting. I hear a woman's voice from behind the trees. But would you by chance be Darren, the legendary savior of the Eastern Continent? Both me and Darren turn around at the same time. We see a slim, tall figure standing behind us, with long black hair, fair skin, and a very serious look on her face. She's wearing leather pants, a long-sleeved white blouse, and a green hooded cloak. She appears to be somewhere in her early 20s. But that's not all there is to this woman. I can also sense a strong magical aura all around her. An aura that couldn't possibly be coming from a regular human. Could she be a banshee? My heart starts beating rapidly again. That night from 15 years ago is coming back to me. I can see it vividly, and I can still hear the laughter. That sinister, high-pitched laughter. Will it ever stop haunting me? I breathe in deeply and try to calm down. This woman can't be a banshee. The feeling I'm getting now is too different from the one I got back then. Does that mean she's a mage? No, that would be impossible. And yet... Barry, whispers Darren. Don't be afraid. I know white magic. I can purify her. I realized Darren must have also sensed the magic coming from the woman, and concluded that she's been possessed by a banshee. Banshees are parasitic spirits that need to inhabit bodies in order to survive. They usually spend a few weeks inside a body in a dormant state before taking over. During this phase, the host may develop magical powers. Once a banshee is in full control of the body, they say she has awakened. The only way you can save the original host once she's been possessed by a banshee is to use white magic to purify her before the banshee is fully awakened, which basically means killing the banshee without harming the host. However, the purification technique operates on the assumption that a woman cannot have magic powers of her own. They call it purification, but all the technique does in fact is to completely eradicate the aura that gives off the strong magical vibe. with the purpose of also eliminating the banshee along with it. On the other hand, if the aura does not in fact belong to a banshee, but the woman herself, the purification would be nothing short of a death sentence. "No, wait, listen to me," I blurt out. "This woman isn't a banshee." "So what? You're suggesting she's a mage then?" "Barry, women can't be mages. There hasn't been a single recorded case of a woman mage in all of our world's history. Every time a woman's developed magical powers, it's been because of a banshee. Every single time. Don't you think I know that? But this one is different. If you try to purify her, you may well end up killing her." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I've met a banshee before. Up close. Have you met a banshee before, Darren?" "No," he admits. "You just said you trust me enough to tell me your greatest weakness. I'm asking you to trust me on this too. Can you trust me on this, Darren?" Darren gives me a long look and then he sighs deeply. "All right. We'll do it your way. But I'm keeping an eye on her. I swear, Barry, if it turns out that you're only saying all this because of her looks, I'm going to..." "Would you guys mind telling me what you've been whispering about for the past minute?" the woman asks us. We can tell her that we've been talking about her looks, deciding which one should make a pass at her, just finishing our discussion from earlier, or discussing whether she is a banshee or not. So many options, so many paths. Which one will you choose? Be sure to vote and help Barry along on his quest.